Welcome to my top 10 2024 wrestling matches of the year, brought to you by Just Alyx right here in Alyx's World, a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it.
Number 10. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WWE WrestleMania 40.
When you think about WrestleMania, you think about the moments that make you feel good, the moments where men become legends. Those moments where little girls, little boys watch and go, that made me want to be a wrestler. It doesn't get any better than Cody Rhodes finishing his story and ending Roman Reigns' 3.5-year tyranny as your WWE Universal World Champion. What a great moment. I love the Avengers all coming out. You had John Cena, Jey Uso, you had The Rock, you had Undertaker, and then Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins being, once again, that dagger, that arbitrage that led to Roman Reigns losing his championship. It was so appropriate, the perfect storm, the perfect ending to a wonderful story, and the beginning of a new story for Cody. One of the greatest WrestleMania moments, dare I say, in the last 40 years. That being said, I can't rank it high on my list simply because in terms of a match, it's awesome, but it doesn't compare to everything else on this list. That's not saying you shouldn't go watch it. Definitely go watch it for the moment alone. I just find it hard to believe anybody can have a top 10 list for 2024 and not have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 40 on it.
Number 9. Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita at AEW WrestleDream 2024.
Man, the amount of times I went, I gotta see that again. I gotta see that again. Ooh, I gotta see that again. While watching this match, I lost count. This was amazing. Easily one of the best triple threat matches to ever happen in AEW's history so far. That might be different as we go along, but right now, this is the best one. All three men were top class, easily future world champions: Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita. And if you were to ask me to pick who was the highlight of the match, I thought all of them shined in their best moments. The chemistry was off the charts. It was fast-paced from beginning to end. The crowd was behind it. And the spots, the counters. Look, I know some of you hate, and I mean hate, spot festy kind of matches. I love them. I'm all about that popcorn fest, but when it's done right, this is how you do it. And I think these three really went in there and showed us when AEW wants to deliver, damn, do they ever deliver. So definitely a match of the year candidate. You should definitely go watch it.
Number 8. MJF versus Will Ospreay 2 at AEW All In 2024.
It was so nice you had to do it twice. I thought Will Ospreay and MJF had an amazing sequel at AEW All In 2024. It was all about the Tiger Driver. Him not hitting the Tiger Driver cost him the first match, which allowed MJF to be the American anti-foreign villain, which is an interesting gimmick for him to have, and I thought it worked. It played into the story of the match, and I thought him and Will Ospreay have impeccable chemistry, and the finish was so well done. Daniel Garcia getting in there to cost him the match, which played into what happened earlier on in the year when MJF turned heel. And then the rightful finish where Will Ospreay hit him with the Tiger Driver and won back his international championship. After watching it back, I don't feel like this is as good as the 250 Dynamite match. That doesn't mean it's not a top 10er. I think it's definitely one of the best matches all year. It's just very hard to reach the level of a 1-hour classic, which you will see later on in this list. Regardless, definitely a match you should go check out, and definitely one for the all-timers, especially for AEW.
Number 7. Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson at AEW All In 2024.
I was there when Bryan Danielson won the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania 30, an all-timer, one of the greatest moments to ever happen inside a wrestling ring. And for me, I never thought a moment like that would ever be replicated for him. If he retired today, people would still remember him for it. I'm happy to say that AEW gave him yet another moment for people to remember him for. And that took place at All In 2024, where he main evented against Swerve Strickland, and he put his career on the line. Coming up to this point, Bryan Danielson, for some reason, had never won a single AEW championship. People called him and still call him one of the greatest wrestlers to ever step foot in a wrestling ring. To have that moniker and never win a world championship, that's just asinine. So when they first announced this match, I said to myself, if they don't put the title on him now, they never will. And that was the story going into it. Swerve, literally, who was a babyface, took up his role as the villain, knew his role as the villain, and embraced it. And that, to me, made this match all the more special because Bryan gave us his best work. The ultimate storyteller, the ultimate worker, the ultimate in-ring performer. And this, I dare say, is some of, if not his best work. This match was emotional. It gave us the happy ending of the year. And to me, capped off one of AEW's greatest pay-per-views. When I think about the greatest matches, if not the greatest moments of 2024, there's no way I can make a list without including this match, without including Bryan Danielson finally winning the AEW World Championship. In front of a crowd of 50,000, by the way, that is a big, big deal. And AEW deserves credit for giving us this moment.
Number 6. Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay at AEW Forbidden Door 2024.
At the time, I called this the greatest AEW pay-per-view main event of all time. And currently, it kind of still holds water because it's definitely one of their best. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland had an excellent all-time classic in the main event of Forbidden Door. A match that was so good, I was actually upset they didn't hold it off until All In. Because when I think about All In, I think about WrestleMania. And when I think about that big spectacle, this is the kind of main event that should be on that show. And even now, I feel like despite that same main event also being on this list, this match was far superior. You're not going to find a better main event for AEW this year than Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. It's two of their best performers giving you some of their best work. And you would be hard-pressed to find another singles match that was this good, that main evented an AEW pay-per-view. Now, there is a match on here that's higher up in the list that was also a main event, but that was a tag team match. Spoiler alert. In terms of a singles match that main event an AEW pay-per-view, or actually not even AEW, but wrestling period, even for WWE, yeah, this is number 1. This is the best singles main event pay-per-view match in 2024. Prove me wrong.
Number 5. MJF versus Will Ospreay at AEW Dynamite 250.
Man, this was a marathon. What an hour-long sprint this was. Not 1 second in this match felt slow. I was blown away, even though I watched it for a second time, with how well this was paced. I never once felt bored. And this was with me watching it without commercials. So you have to understand how hard that is to keep someone's interest for a full hour, and these two were able to do it. This was an outstanding match, easily one of the best Dynamite matches ever. And that ending, the last stretch, the last 10 seconds are especially incredible. They were able to get the match down to the very last millisecond. Easily one of the best matches for both men, MJF and Will Ospreay, ever in their careers. And it was so good, you had to do it twice. They did it again at AEW All In, which you will see on this list if you haven't already.
Number 4. Hell in a Cell, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at WWE Bad Blood 2024.
This isn't just one of the most violent matches you'll see in WWE this year. It's one of the most violent matches, period. The amount of bloodshed between Punk and Drew got to a point where it was almost uncomfortable. There was a spot in the match where Punk hit Drew over the top of his head with a toolbox, and it literally busted him wide open. He had to have numerous stitches. They did not hold back. They beat the piss out of each other, and it was very appropriate for one of the most heated rivalries all year. I felt like this match solidified Drew McIntyre as a top contender in WWE and restored faith in CM Punk fans who thought maybe, just maybe, he didn't have it anymore. Because keep this in mind, when he was in AEW, he was getting hurt a lot. He was getting injured often. So people were worried, was he still able to maintain a healthy run in the company? After seeing this match, all those doubts got laid to rest. CM Punk is still in top form, and he is still one of the best storytellers and in-ring performers today. This match single-handedly established Hell in a Cell once again as the most violent match in the company. Good luck finding one more violent than this one.
Number 3. Sting's retirement. Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks at AEW Revolution 2024.
For all its problems and all of the issues that Tony Khan has with the current AEW product, the one thing he got right, the one person he booked to absolute perfection was the icon Sting. Everything, every program, every single detail about his run was 100% perfection. He was able to salvage the end of his career in WWE, which was a catastrophe. Tony Khan single-handedly made us believe that Sting is literally one of the greatest of all time, and there is nothing you can do to take it away from him. This tag team match between the Young Bucks, Darby Allin, and Sting is how you do a send-off. The perfect example of a retirement match. It had everything you could want. It had the drama, it had craziness, and it had heartfelt moments, and Sting in his 60s still performing like he was in his 30s is incredible to me. I cannot get over the stuff that he did and still is able to do at his age. And if you still think Sting isn't an all-timer, something's wrong with you. And I say that with kindness. There is no way you can watch this match, which is an absolute classic, perhaps the greatest, if not one of the greatest Young Bucks matches I personally have ever seen. But you cannot watch this match and tell me that Sting isn't an all-time great. Again, Tony Khan has his issues, but one thing you cannot say is that he doesn't know how to book the legends. That's one thing that he's been great at, being able to showcase the people who have been here for the longest time and reminding us why we love them for so long. So maybe that's something all legends might want to consider when it's time for them to hang it up.
Number 2.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been going back and forth on these last 2 matches. I can't decide which one is 1 and 2. So whichever one you're seeing as 2 and 1, that's what I went with. But please understand me. I went back and forth, and this is what I have right now. Probably going forward, it might change. If you disagree, I completely understand. But for the sake of the video, here is number 2 on my list.
Konosuke Takeshita versus Will Ospreay at AEW Revolution 2024.
If you ever wonder why I keep pushing for Konosuke Takeshita to be a world champion in AEW, go back to this match. You cannot sit there behind your screens wherever you're watching me and tell me this man is not world championship material after seeing this performance. This match easily is one of the greatest matches to ever take place in AEW. I might even argue it's one of the greatest matches to ever happen inside a wrestling ring. What a classic bout this was. It had everything you could want. It had the pacing, it had the drama, it had the counters, it had the near falls, it had everything that you could want. The replay value is impeccable. I can watch this match 10,000 times and not get tired of it. Even now, I'm blown away by how amazing, incredible this match was. And this was Will Ospreay's first match under an AEW contract. What a way to kick things off. Yes, he's wrestled for AEW before, but to me, if this is what we can expect from him, ladies and gentlemen, no one can compete. No one will ever be able to top matches like this. And I know Will Ospreay sometime in the spring talked about WWE not hiring him. Let me tell you something. This match, this is your receipt. This is how you make them regret it. Because there is no way Triple H or anybody in WWE can watch this match and go, God damn it, someone got away. God damn it, why did we not fight for him? This is how you stick it to WWE. This is how you tell Triple H you made a mistake by not bringing me in. They did make a mistake. AEW picking up Will Ospreay might be the biggest pickup they've ever had. And it's matches like this that restore the feeling. It restored the feeling for me. Because for a long time, I just thought AEW didn't have it anymore. I just thought they lost their touch. It was not the same company I fell in love with. And this match, every time I watch it, I go, there it is. That's the AEW I love. That's the AEW I remember. And I hope we see more matches like this in 2025.
And the 2024 match of the year is Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay, AEW Dynasty 2024.
When it was over, I remember comparing Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay to Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Because for the longest time, for decades, many people in the business said those two created art. Those two created perfection inside the ring. And I think that's exactly what Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay did. They created perfection. When this match was first announced, I said, this is the main event, right? There's nothing you can do that can follow this. They had to know this was going to be one of the greatest matches of the entire century, let alone the decade, let alone the year. And guess what? It exceeded expectations. It was everything we wanted and more. Again, when you think about a match that could main event WrestleMania, let alone All In, you don't get any better than this. These are two men that many people have for years called the greatest wrestler or wrestlers of our generation. There's only been a handful of people that have gotten that moniker. So when two of those men cross paths and their goal is to see which one of them is the greatest, you are going to get an absolute classic. There is nothing you can do about it. I really don't think it gets better than this. This is it. This is the greatest match that I think AEW will probably ever have. I'm scared that this is AEW's peak. I don't know if you do better than this. I don't see how you do better than this, because this had it all. It had the drama, it had the story, it had technical ability, it had the pacing, it had the crowd. There is literally nothing lacking in this match. The only thing that I really hate is that it didn't main event the show. And I cannot believe Tony Khan could not foresee this was going to be the best match of the entire show, let alone the entire year. Anybody else would have saved this for a WrestleMania or an All In. But for some reason, Tony Khan, who just loves great matches, had to throw it away on a B pay-per-view. And I think that's part of the reason why some people will have it lower on their list. I'm not. It's number one. No match, nothing anywhere else that was done this year will be better than this. This, my friends, is the pinnacle, the number one match, the best match of 2024. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. And there you go. That is my list. Let me know what you feel about it down below. And as you file out, do all the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and Venmo. By the way, give me your top matches. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm very curious to know where your head's at when it comes to wrestling this year. But other than that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time right here in Alyx's world. A place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace. When you're when you're